pounding us tonight. AFDP president calls for action to reduce world dependence on fossil fuel. Osun State government and the United States plans development conference on governance. While on the foreign scene, Russia assumes United Nations presidency. Good evening and thanks for joining us on the Major Reports. I am Olubomi Ajiboye Agbola. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the amendment of the 2022-2023 Deep Offshore Oil Block mini-bid process to accommodate concerns raised by potential local and international investors. Chief Executive of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, Mr. Gbenga Komolafe, said this in a statement in Abuja, adding that the amendments would address concerns over the terminal date of the current administration to the closure of the bid schedule. Komolafe said following the approval by the president, the NUPRC had extended the deadline for the submission of bids to May 19 to boost confidence in the transparency and continuity of the process. The extension of the time would afford interested international oil companies enough time to enter into and conclude necessary joint venture arrangements with indigenous companies. President of the African Development Bank Group, Dr. Kiwumi Adesina, has called on the world powers to reduce the dependence on fossil fuels and harness Africa's renewable energy sources. The AFD president in a statement said this at the Berlin Energy Transition Dialogue hosted by the German federal government, while underscoring Africa's success and enormous potential to become a global leader in sustainable development. Additionally, highlighted the significant energy challenges millions of Africans still face, saying urgent action is needed to achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 7 of affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all, as Africa must connect 90 million people annually to electricity by 2030. According to him, a report in 2022 revealed that at least 600 million people did not have access to electricity and 970 million lacked access to clean energy for cooking. He said the bank president the continent must also shift 130 million people from dirty cooking fuel yearly. Additionally, acknowledged the scale of the challenge, noting that Africa's energy transition would require an estimated $100 billion annually between 2020 and 2024. Osun State Governor Senator Ademola Adeleke has assured that MKO Abiola Airport in Ido-Osun will be completed in no distant time, as all impediments and roadblocks to its completion will now be resolved. Senator Ademola Adeleke gave this assurance when he paid a walking visit to the former governor of the state and Minister of Interior. His administration will do its best to resolve all impediments and roadblocks towards the completion of the project by collaborating with the federal government on the completion of the project. Responding, the minister gave an historical background of the airport, stating that he is committed to seeing the government succeed on the project. Governor Adeleke was accompanied on the visit by his Chief of Staff, Mr. Kazim Akinlaye, the Chief Press Secretary, Mr. Rashid Olawale, 2 newly elected lawmakers from Osun, and other members of his government. Osun State government and the have agreed to host a development and donor conference in support of Governor Ademola Adeleke's governance agenda for the state. This was disclosed in a statement in Osogbo by the spokesperson to the governor, Malam Olawale Rashid. The statement added that the donor conference is expected to have in attendance all United Nations agencies, USAID, DFID, German Development Agency, Japanese Development Agency, representatives of multilateral institutions and development agencies of the G20 nations. According to Governor Ademola Adeleke, the conference will enable him to present the development agenda of his administration across the sectors to development partners who are presently operating in Nigeria. The governor explained that his goal is to match the developmental plan of the current administration with that of development partners in building a synergy and expanded inflow of development support for the state. The newly elected executive of Osun Chambers of Commerce, Industries, Mines and Agriculture have pledged to partner with Governor Ademola Adeleke's administration towards enhancing the economic development of the state. The new leadership of the organization, led by Dr. Olujide, promised to strengthen the organization by building more fruitful relationship with other chamber movements in the country. Speaking after the induction of the new leadership of the business organization, which was held at the annual general meeting at the International Trade Fair Market, Osogbo, Dr. Olujide commends the state government for its efforts in partnering with Africa Development Bank to enhance tech entrepreneurs in the state. Governor Ademola Adeleke spokesperson Malam Olawale Rashid, representing Iwo Chamber of Commerce, was among the newly elected executives of the organization. Osun state government has attributed delay in the payment of March salary to ongoing computation of promotion arrears of civil servants promoted without pay in the last 4 years. According to a statement by a spokesperson to the governor, Malam Rashid Olawale, Governor Adeleke has directed that compilation, analysis and computation of the promotion arrears should be completed and paid to the affected civil servants. The compilation of what is due to each promoted officer is followed with due diligence to ensure that there is no error in the eventual payment. The government therefore wishes to reassure Osun workers that the payment of March salary is accompanied with payment of promotion arrears, hence the few days delay. The statement concluded that the March salary alongside the promotion arrears of promoted civil servants will be ready next week. Osun State Governor Senator Ademola Adeleke has commended the Osun State Broadcasting Corporation for being partners in progress. The governor gave the commendation while presenting gifts to participants during a Ramadan program aired on Osbc television. The report is presented from our studios.
Speaking at the presentation of prizes to the beneficiaries, Governor of Osun State, Senator Ademola Adeleke, was represented by Barrister Ashim Abioye, said that the program Al-Burhan was organized to broaden the knowledge of citizens during Ramadan. Senator Adeleke stressed the program is not just to give prizes to members of the public who are adherents of Islamic faithfuls, but for the people to benefit more about Islam.
Nuruddin Ademola Adeleke has staged this program and has supported it in order for Muslims to have a wide reach and not just to feel the presence of Ramadan, but to have some consolations in terms of food items, in terms of clothing, in terms of prayer items, so as for them to have a proper identification with Ramadan.
Governor Adeleke expressed his readiness to bring succor to the people of the state at every available opportunity, stressing the need to identify with all religious organizations in the state so that the act of generosity will continue. Earlier in his address of welcome, the Secretary of State Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Board, Alhaji Bolaji Sani, lauded the governor of the state for his unbiased disposition to religious in the state and for sponsoring a program that Muslim Ummah will benefit from tremendously.
Administration of Senator Ademola Nuruddin Adeleke, and he has deemed it fit to organize a program on Osbc called and where people will be given the opportunity to phone me and they will ask questions and
his goodwill message, the Director General of Osun State Broadcasting Corporation, Mr. Rashid Folaranmi, who was represented by the Director Administration and Supply, Mr. Wale Alao, disclosed that the governor had done tremendously well since his assumption of office. He also thanked the governor for always acting to the request of the corporation. In their separate remarks, some of the beneficiaries of the TV program, Mr. Badmos Shola and Ms. Abdul Wahid Rafiaz, said they were encouraged with the program put in place by the state government.
Certainly encouraged because the government who intended to organize this kind of gift for the Muslims of Osun State across Osun State, finally. So we sincerely appreciate it.
The program is very nice. In fact, we thank God for our governor, Senator Adeleke Nuruddin. We really appreciate you for what you have done for us, and may Allah continue to bless you and grant you. Inshallah.
Highlights of the event were special prayers for Governor Ademola Adeleke, government officials, Osbc management, and staff, including presentation of gifts to the beneficiaries drawn from across and outside the state.
Concerned Northern Political Trackers of Nigeria has called on politicians to desist from attacking the Independent National Electoral Commission or its staff over the lost election. Rather, they should go to court and register their grievances. In a statement signed by the national coordinator of the group, Issa Aruna, aggrieved politicians who lost the presidential election are reminded that there will always be one winner in any election. He said the attacks on INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu and ICT Director at the Commission, Engineer Paul Omakore, is needless. The statement further stated that part of the ICT technical team's record is that it made the beavers work optimally up to 86%, where 11% malfunctioned, were repaired, and 3% restored. Meanwhile, indications have emerged that no fewer than 257 judges will be deployed for election petitions across the country. A document obtained by newsmen indicated that the judges were drawn from different state high courts, federal high courts, and the national industrial courts across the country. The document noted that the judges will be responsible for adjudicating disputes arising from the general elections into various offices. The judges from Osun State include Justice A.A. Ajoigbe, Justice A.O. Ayola, Justice K.M. Akonwo, Justice A.I. Adegoke, Justice M.O. Agbola, Justice S.A. Oke, Justice M.O. Okedia, and Justice A.O. Adeniji, among others. The West African Examinations Council has released the West African Senior School Certificate Examination results for private candidates in the first series of 2023. The head National Office WAEC Nigeria, Patrick Areya, disclosed that out of the 8,348 candidates that sat for the exam, the council withheld the result of 413 candidates due to varied cases of examination malpractice. According to him, 4,161 males sat for the exam, while the remaining 4,187 were female, representing 48.84% and 50.16% respectively. Speaking on the general performance in the exam, Arehan revealed that an analysis of the statistics of the performance of candidates showed that 2,003 candidates, representing 23.99%, obtained credit and above in a minimum of 5 subjects, including English language and mathematics. The United Nations Children Fund has explained that a new global maternal mortality report indicated that in Nigeria, 82,000 women die from pregnancy and childbirth-related complications annually. The UNICEF Nigeria Chief of Health, Eduardo Silades, said said this during a media dialogue on COVID-19 and routine immunization organized by UNICEF Nigeria office in collaboration with the Child Rights Information Bureau of the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture. The report titled Trends in Maternal Mortality was done by the United Nations Maternal Mortality Estimation Interagency Group comprising World Health Organization. Selades explained that the statistics given translated to 225 deaths from maternal mortality every day, saying that it showed that the number of women dying from pregnancy-related causes was very high in the country. And moving on to the entertainment scene, Davido's fans have continued to shower encomium on the music star as his new album Timeless becomes the fastest Nigerian hit to reach top 3 of the United States music charts. Join Oluwatobiloba Odunuga for the rest of the story and more on the entertainment scene.
Good evening and welcome to Entertainment News segment, where we'll be discussing top happenings and recent events across the entertainment world. I am Oluwatobiloba Odunuga.
Bad girl won't carry me to jungle over. Keep it She come my life, come carry my heart, run over. Keep it
On the 31st of March this year, David Adeleke, popularly known as Davido, released his 4th studio album, Timeless, and hours into the album release, it's already dominating streaming charts across the world. According to the chart new platform Album Talks, Timeless is the highest charting Nigerian album on the US album music charts after it reached number 3 hours after its release. The 17-track highly anticipated album, which features exciting talents across Nigeria, Africa and Jamaica, is its first since A Better Time in 2020. The album is topping in Nigeria, the United Kingdom, Ghana, Senegal, Uganda, Niger, Qatar, and United Arab Emirates, among others. According to some fans of Davido, the album's impressive performance in the United States is a testament to Davido's megastar status in the country he spent part of his formative years. Meanwhile, Davido's 4th album also unveils new signees, including Logos Olori and Moravi, into Davido Music Worldwide record label. Recall that DMW is one of the notable labels in Nigeria that has delivered exciting artists including Mayokun, Dremon, and Peruzzi after over a decade in the music scene. The record label is all set to introduce its second constitution, DMW 2.0. This revamped label promises to be bigger, better, and more ferocious than ever before. Moravi is a young Port Harcourt-bred singer, songwriter with a unique flair from blending Afro sounds using a quintessential vocals, and Logos Olori is a sensational Afrobeat vibe machine, drawing musical inspiration from his southwestern roots. These two talented artists are the industry's latest revelations and are set to take the music scene by storm.
So baby, draw me closer like a puzzle. Tell me, say you got the man we know. Baby girl, you know I got the figure. Make us sing and make it dance and we know. I'm a monster, I get the ego, but I got love for you, you know.
This is the convenient spot to draw the curtain of Entertainment News segment for today. Join us next time for another sweet edition of the Entertainment News. I remain your own Oluwatobiloba Odunuga saying bye for now.
You are welcome to our sports segment. President of the Nigerian Paravolley Federation, Kayode Ladele, says the federation is working towards assembling a national for the World Cup. In his post-camp assessment following the conclusion of the 2 weeks exercise for the men's national team, he said they need to get a team ready on time for African Games and the World Paravolley World Cup later in the year necessitated the exercise under the supervision of medal-winning and certified international coach Leoti Mossad from Egypt. Nigeria has qualified for the World Cup organized by the World Paravolley holding in Egypt, and preparation is on top gear to choose the team and begin a regular training. The Federation president said promising players as the last competition organized by the Federation in 2022 got invites, while others who had been consistent recently were also welcomed and accommodated with the opportunity to expose the national team to the international stage ahead of the African Games between 3 and 12 September 2023 in Accra, Ghana, and the World Cup. While on the foreign scene, Russia has taken the presidency of the United Nations Security Council despite Ukraine urging members to block the move. Michael Adeniyi reports.
Russia has taken the presidency of the UN Security Council despite Ukraine urging members to block the move. Each of the US member states take up the presidency for a month on a rotation pattern. The other permanent member of the Council are the UK, US, France, and China. Despite Ukraine complaint, the United States said it could not block Russia as a permanent council member from assuming the presidency. The role is mostly procedural, but Moscow ambassador to the UN, Vasil Nebenza, told journalists that he planned to oversee several debates, including one on arms control. However, Ukraine presidential advisor Mikhailo Podolyak said the move was another rape of international law, an entity that waged an aggressive war, violates the norms of humanitarian and criminal law, destroys the UN Charter, neglects nuclear safety, and cannot head the world key security body. It will be recalled that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called last year for the Security Council to reform its charter due to its failure to take enough action in preventing Russia's invasion. Meanwhile, tornado blasted through Kansas and Illinois, killing at least 3 people and injuring dozens. The twister shared roofs and walls from many buildings, flipped over vehicles and down trees and power lines. A blast of extreme spring weather swept much of the United States, enhancing the nation's midsection from Texas to the Great Lakes with thunderstorms and tornadoes. First responders in the U.S. state of Kansas sifted through rubble, searching for more possible victims after a frenzy. The turbulent weather came as President Joe Biden toured the wreckage of a major storm that hit the state of Mississippi last week, and a series of avalanches in Norway far north has claimed the life of 4 people. Police spokesman Morten Petersen said 2 foreign tourists were killed in 2 other avalanches, although their nationality were not yet known as at the time of filing this report. Meteorological experts says avalanches occur almost every day in Norway at this time of the year, with 7% of the country's territory at risk, as several small towns in the Trondheim region were evacuated because of the high risk of avalanche. Prime Minister Jonas Støre described the death as a tragic start to Easter. It has been Michael Adeniyi reporting.
And to end the major reports, here's a recap of some of the top stories. President of the African Development Bank Group, Dr. Akiwumi Adesina, has called on the world powers to reduce the dependence on fossil fuels and harness Africa's renewable energy sources. We also told you that Osun State governments and the United States have agreed to host a development and donor conference in support of Governor Ademola Adeleke's governor's agenda for the state. While on the foreign scene, we reported that Russia has taken the presidency of the United Nations Security Council despite Ukraine urging members to block the move. And that ends the major report on OSBC TV. It was edited by Adebari Jumakile. I'm Olubumi Ajiboye Agbola saying good night.